Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And I had a pretty good week in EVE Online last week. I played a little bit every single day, and especially in the first part of the week I went out there, did a little bit of exploration, found some good sites and also started to get a little bit more lucky with the drops as well. Surprisingly enough, my best drop came from a Sancha Den, where one of those true Sancha cruisers actually spawned, and it was like a BPC for an implant that was worth a lot of money if I were to produce it, and then also a couple of items that were really good. So basically just that one site made my whole week, and I got a couple of extra good combat sites with some decent drops. So overall I definitely made some nice progress and had some fun exploring. As I've said, that was the focus on the first part of the week, because after that I went back to my maintenance stuff, which is moving lots of stuff from the stations that are around Amar into the Amar trade hub itself. And at the moment it's basically only the bulky stuff that's remaining. So we're talking capital ship components, which are like really bulky, difficult to transport, and then I've got titanium and pyrite left. Now I would love to sell some of that stuff locally, but at the moment everything is under pressure, especially pyrite and titanium, which is a part of what it takes to produce those components. And so yeah, even selling locally I would need to undercut to ridiculous prices. So we gotta switch to being patient, slowly moving everything out into Amar, putting them into the right containers, and wait for a better time to maybe sell or do something with them. We will of course see how all of that evolves as well. The BPC business is good news then, getting a lot of sales at higher prices. So that's going really well. I do feel like there's a bit of a preparation vibe happening across New Eden in general, where players are getting ready for maybe more and better opportunities in industry. And of course the ship class that's suffering the most are the large ships, the capitals, the supers. And so some of those BPCs I think are being gathered, hoping for a nice change, and then just being able to produce them at a massive discount compared to what's happening now. So kinda good news for me, of course. I am producing these BPCs on like a 10-day basis, bring them out to Amar, and at the moment those contracts are selling pretty damn quickly. Other good news is on the PI front. So as you guys know, I mostly produce stuff, PI stuff that's tied to fuels, so coolants, mechanical parts, and those are still doing really well. 10k a pop is pretty easy to get most times, and so I've been selling a little bit more of that as well, making some isks now that we've got some really good times there. I'm very curious to see how things are going to evolve. If you follow EVE Talk, you know that it feels like demand in PI is going up in general, especially in the more base products, but I'm not sure how long that is going to remain the case. And we also don't know what CCP is planning to do, and maybe they'll hit PI in an unexpected way for the larger ships that may actually end up being bad for consumption. And so I'm still not sure if gathering a lot of PI is still the right move. I am starting to sell a little bit more of that as well. On the development front, well, we get the hunt that is back. Now I haven't taken part in that at this point, but it's a pretty nice event that also potentially gives you some of the basics for D-scan. So if you're like new to the game, I highly recommend that you try to locate some of those capsules that you need to hunt for. Just using the D-scan, it's often quite possible, and it's a nice way to just get acquainted with the mechanics so that you can pinpoint stuff with it. But other than that, yeah, we're still looking forward, of course, toward FanFest, which should be in about a month. So hopefully we'll get some dev blogs, some information that start to come through before FanFest itself hits. And then for FanFest itself, well, let's hope for a good time and some new goals that can be set once CCP comes out with all that information. I also had a little bit of time to play some Elden Ring, but really not that much. It is pretty intense, of course, a very difficult game. Died to a couple of mobs that I hadn't encountered before. So most of the week, basically after work, I played mostly EVE Online, and then when I had a little bit of time and energy, I went into some Elden Ring, just doing a little bit of maintenance there as well. You could say some grinding to get some extra levels, to get my intelligence up so that I could do more damage, which ended up being still really good in in that cave system that I've been farming, and then I actually also managed to defeat that final boss in there, which is like, I don't know, a rock crystal like bull that was really not that easy, but once summons got them distracted, and then I used the gravity spell that took him down a couple times, and then it was actually decently easy to defeat him without having to worry too much about the combat. So Elden Ring is still something that of a little bit of a side project at the moment, because it is a type of game that I haven't really played before. It's very difficult. It requires quite a bit of concentration, setting yourself some achievable goals, and it's very punishing, of course, when you do get hit, when you get taken out and you get to try again and again, or you have to try and find different tactics, but may need some other tools and things like that for it. So overall, I think it's a very interesting game, but it's also one that does require a lot of time and effort, which I'm not sure that I have enough of that at the moment. But yeah, visually it works really well. For me, technically, it works quite nicely as well, and I've slowly been basically doing a little bit of exploration next to the grinding as well. So I found way more markers, found a couple of extra maps, but I still have to basically do the first main boss. I think it's like at the first castle or something like that, although I've already seen like a cheesy tactic that I could do with what I've found so far, so it would be possible for me to run it. But I'm still having fun trying to make my character stronger without necessarily jumping into the main quest line or the main boss fights and things like that. And so that's what I've been doing for Elden Ring at the moment, and other than that, yeah, kinda still looking out for other stuff to do. I know that the Halo collection is on sale on Steam at the moment. That might be interesting. Also kinda looking at Warhammer 3, Total War Warhammer 3. I think at some point, from what I've seen from videos and from reviews, might need a couple of patches, but after that it's definitely on my wish list, so maybe if it gets on sale I'll pick that up as well. But yeah, those are my plans, and that was my last week in games. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.